Welcome to Garage Talk. Me, Garage Guy Chase, accompanied as always with Dale Tanhardt. And on today's show, we're twisting things up a little bit. We're doing something different, something we've never done before on Garage Talk. We're going to declare this Indy Week, and we are now welcoming our first ever IndyCar driver on Garage Talk, and it couldn't be anyone else but our guy Conor Daly. Conor, merry late Christmas, happy early New Year.
Merry Christmas
for being on the show. Yeah, we appreciate it, man.
No problem, guys. I know I've been begging to be on the program here, support it. I always love to talk about, things that have to do with racing and also maybe some sports gambling as well, because you guys only do winning things, apparently, from what I've seen all year. You only do winners. So I got to respect the grind here and the effort.
We appreciate
that. Oh, jinx. Oh, shit.
Yeah. Soda.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Look, especially like we're big football guys, right? And I'm not going to lie, NFL football, while it is the most fun thing to bet on, I think it has not been good for me. It has not been good for me. So later in the show, we're going to get a little bit of insight from you on how to help win some more bets, because I'm in a slump right now. I got to say it. I think Chase had a winning bet, but we're going to need some help on that a little bit later, I think.
Yeah,
that's
I
totally
can't wait
fine.
to hear. I'm ready for I'm ready for all of the big field data, big gridiron data that Conor Daly has to offer us. But yeah, before we do that, since you do owe me a soda now, Dale, as the jinx tale goes, you can give it to me at Hooters. I'll take it to go. And right now, if you go over to Hooters, the app, or you go to order.hooters.com, use promo code Garage Guys, you're going to save $10 on any $30 or more order. Okay, don't forget it. And it's valid at participating locations for delivery and carry-out orders only. It's the Garage Guys way. It's the Hooters way. Hooters is for race day. I said Ray. I don't think they have a laser, but it is the way, and that's cool too. So shout out to that. That was our Hooters ad, Conor.
I respect that.
Rate that. That was one of the better transitions Chase did. I'm not gonna lie.
That was solid. I mean, you got to bring the partners in. You gotta make sure the news is heard. I respect that you guys have such a great relationship with the Hooters brand. I think it is very fitting. And I mean, what a respectful community there. I enjoy that place as well. I have done some work there in the past. I believe I judged a contest there at one point when I was, back in my days of the streets. Wonderful news.
Really? I didn't know that. What was the contest?
Yeah, well,
it was a competition of swim and fitness, I believe, whatever those are. Great competitors, great spirit, and great food as well. I enjoyed it.
Did you wear a Speedo? That's the big question.
Things.
Well, I was not the one being judged, so I could wear my normal clothes. Obviously, it was kind of like a celebrity judge type situation here in the local Indianapolis area. So it was an enjoyable time, I will say. Great atmosphere, we'll say.
Okay, I would have wore a Speedo, but just keep that in mind.
I think it was cold. I'm not gonna lie. I don't exactly remember what time of year it was, but
you don't want to wear a Speedo when it's cold outside.
Yeah,
that's kind of true. Okay, so that's awesome to hear. That's awesome news. So we know you're familiar with that. We've had some great times. The Hooters in Indy is great, by the way, but we've had some great times in downtown Indy. And obviously, for all the NASCAR fans that are watching, Conor actually ran in the Roval race this past year. He's repping his sponsors as well with Bitnow. Great team right there. Great group of guys. Randy, our guy Randy texted me the other day to tell me Merry Christmas and sent me Santa in a Hooters, or not a Hooters, a Santa in an IndyCar.
I love it.
Hooters is on the mind. But yeah, great group of guys there. And I love the city. Dale has literally, that's like his home away from home. He's lived in Indy pretty much his entire life, from a child being an Indy 500 regular visitor. I got to go to my first one in 2020. The race changed my life forever. One of the most incredible events I think I've ever attended. And I didn't even get to experience the whole week. like Dale has. So for you guys that are watching this that's never been to an IndyCar race, you definitely got to check that out this year. We've been big advocates for it, and that's kind of what I want to just roll into talking about. It is the off season, so we do have to touch base on that first. You just got back from Ireland. How did that go? What was that place like? And is there any opportunity? Did you find any good places where we could see an IndyCar race in Ireland?
Well, I've got a lot of family connection there. My dad's the only one who jumped on the boat and left the island to come over and race in America and race in the Indy 500 in the 80s. And once he got to Indiana, he never left. So he met my mom at the racetrack, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and never went back. So all of my dad's side is over there. I've got several aunts and uncles and several cousins, big family. And my Nana, who's still alive, she's 93, I think, or 94. So she's running the family over there. And so it was great to see them. I hadn't been back, obviously, because I have a job that takes a lot of my time. So I haven't been able to travel back over there in a long time. So yeah, it was great to get over there. They do have a great racetrack, Mondello. I raced a go-kart there when I was younger. I think when I was like 12 or 13. Not sure if it's ready for an IndyCar race yet, but it's a very. My dad was one of the only Irish drivers ever to score points in Formula One, so he's got a great connection to the country there, and I had even dual citizenship as well. When I was for a long time. So I have a lot of passion for the Irish fans. There's a lot of Irish motor racing fans. They love it. I actually even brought back a clip. My Nana cut out a newspaper clipping of the Irish Times, and it was a report on me doing the Roval race in the Cup Series. So it was kind of funny. They're even, in the Irish Times, they're writing about me in the NASCAR Cup Series. So definitely some race fans over there, which is really cool.
Dude, so that's awesome. It's sad, actually. I've never been out of the country. I've got some German heritage, but I got to get out of the United States. So it's pretty badass to race out in Ireland, I will say. But before all this, did race in 2022 full-time IndyCar with that car racing. Talked about how you made your debut in NASCAR. I think it's fitting that your two last runs were at Indianapolis this year, which is always awesome to see as Chase, a huge Indy guy. I swear, I don't even, there's no way I can even count the amount of times I've told people on our podcast and people in person at NASCAR races how awesome the Indy 500 is and how awesome Indianapolis Motor Speedway is and how every race fan should experience IMS at some point, and in particular the Indy 500. I'll go off topic with that all day because I literally get thinking about it. But 2020 season in for Conor Daly.
I mean, the season in general, it actually started out, not in a bad spot. We had a fairly decent couple runs, basically until after Indy. After Indy, I think we were like 11th or 12th in points or something, like pretty in a decent position. Because we had finished 5th and 6th and the Indy 500 being double points. And honestly, we probably should have, we had a great shot to win the Indy 500. I don't think we had the fastest car, but we definitely, if we didn't have a right rear wheel nut explode on the last pit stop or something happened with the gun, we go from pitting right behind the leader to coming out like 8th. So, had to make up a bit of time and space there on the last restart. And so, we wanted to get a top 3 finish for sure there at the Indy 500. I think it was very, very possible. But, we still finished 6th. So that was a good day. But, towards the back half of the year, we had a lot of mechanical failures. We had a lot of random things happen that were just kind of, I some things that I've never seen before. And even at Texas, an oval race, which I think are our strengths for sure at the Ed Carpenter Racing Team. We had an electrical issue that basically caused our pit lane speed limiter to essentially not work. So, there are 2 things there that took us out of a race, a lot of things that took us out of position that happen in motorsport. So I think, for our next season, if we eliminate a lot of those things that are kind of, out of our control or certain things that are essentially just bad luck issues, I think we have a great chance to be be competitive. We know that we have 3 races at 3 tracks that we're very, very good at, both Indy GP road course races, the Indy Oval. We've got 2 tracks that are being repaved, Road America and Laguna Seca. Every time a track that has a repaved surface that has a lot of grip, that's helped us a lot. So there's a lot of interesting things. Detroit's a new street race. I don't know if that's going to be, how crazy that's going to be. It just gives you an opportunity to potentially take advantage of some other people's misfortunes. So yeah, there's a lot there. We think, we know we were fast at Iowa last year. We qualified on the second row. Like that's for both races. That's one of my favorite places now. And, we think we know where we were failing in the race when it comes to, how the tires were going off there. So hopefully we can go back and qualify the same, hopefully go for the pole again there and have 2 strong races there. So it was an okay season. You never want to be happy where we were in the points, but there were a lot of places where I think we had an opportunity to be fighting at the front, fighting for the win of the Indy 500, fighting for the wins at the Indy GP circuit as well. Even the second Indy GP circuit. I made a mistake of stalling in the pits, right? So there's a lot that happens. We come in there, we're running 5th or 4th again, and I think our car is a great car there, and that happens. So just eliminating small things like that, and I think we'll be in a decent position for next year.
That's all good stuff, man. And you were talking about Detroit. The one thing that I find super interesting that I love that they're doing is you're going to have 2 pit lanes on opposite sides from what I'm reading. That's going to be pretty insane. And that's where the misfortune stuff can really come into play. So I'm loving everything. I've found myself this off season actually watching some of the IndyCar races from 2022. Just put them on YouTube and just sit back and watch them. And I'll do that with NASCAR races as well. But it's coming up, man. And with the F1 being where it's at, obviously, big Netflix guys and girls out there, if they subscribe, they love F1. So I don't see why it's hard for these American folks out here to go to an IndyCar race. It's way more cost efficient for one. I think you guys have a hell of a lot harder of a job with no power steering for 2. And also it puts on a great show. And I've seen some of the battles, and I think that we're entering an age now. There's a lot of changes happening in IndyCar. And I think that we're about to start seeing a little bit of that kind of crossover, especially with NASCAR doing the IndyCar road race weekend, which is one of my favorite weekends of the entire season. Honestly,
great weekend.
We talked about it. Yeah, dude, so fun. And so I'm excited for it. And I know that you've been one of the big players, out there on social media, big advocate for that. What steps do you anticipate or see happening kind of for this year? In your mind, what really needs to happen to get this fan base at the same level as NASCAR in America or F1, worldwide?
Man, that's a tough question, honestly. And it's the multi-million-dollar question. Yeah. I think one of a couple things happened for Formula One. Obviously the world shutdown of the whole COVID pandemic was really tough, but boy, did that bring everyone to Netflix very aggressively and all the streaming services. And guess what happened to come out right then and there for everyone to see? That Drive to Survive series. So if that had come out maybe in a time now where we're all kind of out and about living again, would it have been the same? I don't know, because I think people are still craving content nonstop. And it was on the front page, right? Things that you find on the front page, you're like, well, I'm going to check that out. And if it's got a fancy little clip montage there, I'm going to check it out, right? I think we can put the same montages together. You know what I mean? I think we have the same noises. We have the same angles. We have a lot of exciting stuff that you can put together. Some crazy crashes and accidents that can happen. But it's about marketing, right? No one knows what we are. That's the sad part about it is, I listened to this conversation not too long ago, and I talked about it on my podcast too, but it was a young fella at a local bar, our favorite dive bar here in Indianapolis, Coach's Tavern, going in there. It's the day of the Big Ten championship game. And, he's got his Purdue stuff on, and he's talking to an older guy there, and like just talking about F1 and like how awesome it is and how exciting it is and how we got an American driver coming along. And my friend, of course, Deepu, you guys know him very well.
Shout out to the man.
He kind of leans over to him. He's like, "Why not IndyCar, man? Why?" He's like, "I just never know when it's on or where it's on." And it's like, people just don't know. Like, that was the perfect conversation. And it's sad too, because I think a lot of our fans, you mentioned like this, affordability, right? It is still affordable. And there was a lot of people that complained about how Iowa, the prices went up because from last year, obviously Hy-Vee invested a ton of money in the race, having concerts pre and post race for 2 days in a row. That doesn't come for free. I'm sorry, but you don't get to see these massive artists perform at a racetrack, first of all, anywhere else in the world, like on
Gwen
that weekend.
Stefani and Blake Shelton were there.
It's not free. I'm sorry. Like, that doesn't, I don't know what goes into people's minds thinking that if we're going to go to an IndyCar race, we're still going to be able to just enjoy it for $40 or whatever it is. Like, you get what you pay for. Like, you can still see a great motor racing event and like 4 really cool concerts. You know what I mean? And if you look at concert ticket prices, like I've even bought concert ticket prices where I'm like, man, that's a lot of money. Like, and you're looking at some prices for the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert, Foo Fighters, like not too long ago. And I like had to get in contact with a special guy to like help me get maybe a deal to like sit in the back where you couldn't see anything for like $900. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, no way will I do that
noise.
And so I hate to see that, because again, when Formula One offers packages for $5 million, for hundreds of thousands of dollars, I saw someone post on their story the other day, they bought like 3 tickets for like $9,000. And I'm like, why are we complaining about I think IndyCar could charge even more. Like, and again, that's bad, because I want it to be accessible for everyone, right? Like, we don't want it to be an issue, because we want to be able to welcome all the folks to the race, but we have to make it so you want to go there no matter what the price. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter that, like, we have to make it craveable enough to where it's like, well, price goes up, it's probably because the racing's great and there's great entertainment there. You know what I mean? So I accept it. And there's always going to be a debate over that. It is what it is. But that was just kind of a side rant. Overall, it's just marketing. It's just getting in front of people. We have a new television show on CW and the Vice networks that's coming out for next year, which is going to be great. However, it's really all centered around the 500. That's good, because that's what everyone actually knows in the world. If you ask 99% of the people, everyone's heard of the Indy 500, right? That's great. But how do we get them then to watch the next 11 races, the next 12 races, whatever it is? So it's marketing. We've been told they're going to spend money on marketing. This TV show is not going to work itself. That has to be marketed. That has to be on the front pages of every single smart TV that people own. That's hard. It doesn't just happen. We don't have a magical advertising fairy that will just sprinkle the show in front of everyone. Like, you have to do it. And I really hope that enough of this, chatter about it is responded to. And I think the show and the people they have involved with the show is going to be great, as long as it gets right in front of the people. And I think that's important.
I respect everything and love to hear it, because I've always expressed my concerns about where IndyCar's been at over the last decade, I would even say. And that's one thing that's different. Like Formula One and NASCAR, their advertising, their marketing levels are extremely high in a lot of different aspects. IndyCar needs to be there. And I think the idea with the new show going out, and I know you said, well, it kind of is just primarily about the Indy 500. Indy 500 is what got me into IndyCar growing up as a kid. And then when I went to the race, and we can all mesh together about ticket prices, I think the best seats in the Indy 500 are in turn 3. If you can imagine it, you see they come off of turn 2 and you see them passing right there in the backstretch, the most runs, 4 wide. I think they're the best seats at that could go for a lot of different racetracks, even NASCAR races too. And I think the Indy 500 is the best sporting event on planet Earth. I genuinely believe that. And that is a bold statement when you talk about the Super Bowl or the national championship or the FIFA World Cup. Soccer's not a sport, so we can't, no. But the thing is, the tickets that we have every year are like $90 for what I think are some of the best seats in the country for any event you want to go to. That is so affordable for what I think is the best sporting event on earth. And I think for sure is the best motorsports event on earth. So I think that's such a great gateway to get people to see it. And then they see it at the Indy 500 and now they're hooked, right? Now they're hooked and now they want to experience everything else. I think the Indy Grand Prix is a lot of fun. Nashville is a lot of fun. And we went to the Iowa races and they were obviously very fun too. So I think there is just about display because when you consider all that, I also think IndyCar is the most talented field of drivers in the world right now. And this is all genuine. Don't want to, not trying to diss NASCAR. I will try to diss Formula One, but I won't try to diss NASCAR.
Well, it's a different arena too, right? Like you have guys that have come from NASCAR to us. You have guys that have come from Formula One to us. You have guys that have won V8 Supercar championships that are in IndyCar. That's not in F1 and that's not in NASCAR. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not good drivers. Obviously, you know, the Cup drivers are some of the best drivers in the world. The Formula One drivers are some of the best drivers in the world. But I don't think that should ever be like IndyCar should never be discounted in that arena, because everyone eventually comes to play in our sandpit. You know what I mean? So it's
Jimmy Johnson.
Exactly.
Example.
And I think it's how that hasn't been put on a worldwide marketing plan. And honestly, it doesn't need to go worldwide. It just needs to be America. Honestly, that's the only ratings that we care about and the growth there. But yeah, I think we have so much to offer. We have so much to put in front of people. And, you know, if the show, the new show, the last episode coming out right after the Indy 500, you know, right at the end, there should be a great big slide that says, and boom, we're going racing in Detroit next weekend if you want to watch on NBC, right? Like, it's hard because that's, you know, it's owned by Next Star Media Group, which is not NBC, but they own a lot of local NBC affiliates and stuff like that. So it's possible to watch it. And again, if it's cool enough, that's the thing. If you watch something that's really cool, you're going to find out more about it, right? Like it doesn't, but if it doesn't catch your attention, you never see it again, right? Like I've seen things like, that's cool, never will watch it again. Or a show that you watch the first episode and you're like, but like if it sucks you in, how many seasons of that show are you going to watch? Probably all of them until it starts sucking. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things that, you know, if you build it, they will come. As they say, like the Iowa race, it was great. Like Hy-Vee invested a ton of money into it. People came. It looked awesome. Big music, very cool. So that's, you know, those are kind of my thoughts on a lot of it.
No, I mean, that's the perfect
stuff. I agree with you. 100,000%.
That is the perfect stuff. It really, like the thing too that I get from that, like the fact that you guys are gonna be on Vice, I had no clue of that. Vice is going to give you a pretty, like, I've watched a few shows. I used to love Jesus and Mero. They're on Showtime now, but I used to watch Jesus and Mero almost like every night. One of my favorite shows. They got a lot of good like comedy. It's very new age. So a lot of like the younger 20s, things like that. That's going to be a tight crowd for you guys to get. And I feel like a lot of those people that would watch that would definitely be somebody that would be following over from the Drive to Survive, because that's the main thing here, right? You got two cars that look pretty similar to just anybody watching Netflix is from an entertainment standpoint, but entertainment's king. And like you say, marketing, and it's all lumped into the same. You be able to figure that wheel out, you're going to be able to turn over, you know, profit down the line, but also passion. You got to have people passionate. I know you're one of those passionate people. You got to lean in on drivers because that's where the passion is. If you take that passion and you instill that in any business model right there, it's going to rock it. So I've got the same, you know, the same will and want to see that happen, because I just know as a person that was introduced to it through this fella right here, that was not even going to go to the race, Connor. I was not even going to go to the race that morning. Okay. Never had been, was going to just stay back and let them do their thing. And I'm so fucking glad that I went because it changed my life. I literally, the oval thing, bro, those cars on ovals is another level. And I'm watching it as a guy on the outside, not even really looking at much of the racing aspect, but the fact that it's just like some out of this world shit, dude. It's incredible. And I love it. So,
and it's also okay to like all three of the sports, right? Like that's what I think some people get so like caught up in like, well, no, I'm a NASCAR person. I was like, so am I. I race IndyCar. I like NASCAR. You know what I mean? Like, and I watch Formula One. Now, if all the races are on at the same time, you are going to have some people choose, right? Like I get that, but you know, I see a perfect gap in people, right? You look at the NASCAR ratings every weekend and they get great ratings, you know, millions of people watching, right? And if you compare that to some of our races, okay, how do you go from 2 million people watching NASCAR to 500,000 people watching IndyCar? How can we bring those, not lower this one, not lower the 2 million? How do we get that to be 2.5 and then IndyCar to be 1.5? You know, how do we get just more people to watch all of motor racing, because people are clearly craving it. And all you got to do is paint the picture enough for people to be like, I like the way that looks. I'm going to try to get involved. You know what I mean? So I think the people that argue with each other on Twitter are not the people that we are going after anyway. I think it's the people that just purely don't know that there's an argumentative racing Twitter. You know what I mean? Those are the people that we need to get to watch and to be entertained by our sport that we love.
It's so saturated.
I think I have a lot of friends who have been introduced, of course, like through my content and our content, like introduced to the NASCAR side of things. And they've mainly, most of those guys have been hooked through the betting of it, which I think is fine because I think it's more fun with skin in the game. A lot of friends who introduced to Formula One and open wheel racing through the documentary, and then they start questioning the shit out of me about it. And then I say, I always bring Indy into the equation. And what people don't know about, I've always thought the Indy 500 hasn't been displayed enough on TV. And you can see TV ratings. It should have way better TV ratings for the quality of race that is and the stature, like the importance of that race too.
Yeah, what's on the line, the prize money, the danger, all that.
And the danger is the thing I express the most. And
that's
the
selling point.
If if the majority of people knew that you guys will go 240 miles an hour plus into a corner, I mean, you could literally die at any moment. Like, there's another motorsports event on planet Earth. Well, I take that back. From a NASCAR, Formula One, or IndyCar, I will say, because I'll never discount the Isle of Man, of course, but there are other super dangerous events. But when it comes to oval racing and premier professional sports racing between NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, the Indy 500 stands on its own from a level of pure danger, right? That just doesn't exist anymore in a lot of these series because we are so safe. And yes, that is fantastic. But that pure level of danger, we're humans, and it is human nature to think about that and enjoy an event more because you guys are on the brink of just a phenomenal crash. And I mean, you're risking your life at every corner. People love
gladiators,
bravery, right?
Gladiators.
Yeah, exactly. It's a gladiator type thing. And I think if people knew that you guys go that fast into those corners on an oval, on a flat oval with the wall 20, 30 feet away, they would be hooked and they would have to tune in. Why do people not know that? It's crazy.
Well, and people back in the day, they didn't care if they were going to die at that weekend. You know what I mean? You had people dying all the time in motorsport, but that people are softer now, obviously, as well. So like and we don't want to see that happen. Like, no, of course, I don't want to see any of my friends get killed doing motor racing, right? But like, what did Netflix do with Roman Grosjean's Formula One crash? That was an 8-second like flame and he got out. They made that into 3 minutes worth of like, is he dead? You know what I mean? But what did it do? It brought you in. And I'm sorry, but if you're uncomfortable with that, then you're wrong because you have to bring people in. You have to let people know that, yes, this is hard. This is dangerous. These are warriors. Like what we are doing is very difficult. It's very dangerous. Even though we have a very safe car, it's not like we're racing around in bubbles. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter if the car's built like Fort Knox. Like it's it doesn't matter. Things can still happen. People need to know that because it makes it exciting. I don't know. I think that is so obvious. But again, people are like, well, we don't like that because it's bad for families and whatever it is. And I'm like, well, then I'm sorry, but that's
it's
a
risk
lie.
you accepted.
Yeah,
that's
like we signed up for this. Yeah. Like I signed up for it. I tell people every weekend, I'm like, if I go up in a ball of fire in a fence, I don't care because I was prepared to do that. And I was having a great time doing it. You know what I mean? And that's how we remember the drivers that have fallen as well. Drivers that have passed away, we celebrate them as heroes because they are, right? And and it's something that I think we do need to take advantage of. There was a great movie about Scott Dixon, and it's on Netflix, like Born to Race or something like that.
I've seen
I actually went to the premiere of it. Great movie. And you know what they did? He had a crazy accident in 2017 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That thing was nuts.
Dude, that was so crazy.
And they slowed that sucker down and they made me like, I loved what they did with it. And again, this is not a big time movie that made it into huge spaces, right? Like it's on Netflix, but you got to find it. You know what I mean? But like, it was really, I was like, man, I was in that race. I crashed in that race too, I think. And I was like, that was a wild, like, look at what happened, because again, I also saw like that accident happened in front of me and like I got to drive through the debris and I was like, man, that was crazy. And I think they did a great job, but that's what you have to do. You have to bring back incidents like that and look at them and kind of be like, for this TV show, they gotta bring that into us. People just have to know that what we're doing is hard. What we're doing is for the elite of the elite, because it's next level, especially at the Speedway, which is why the show I think will be so great. And hopefully people can accept that and respect it as well. But I think they will, because people are craving cool stuff to watch, cool stuff to do, and cool stuff to follow and support. I mean, look at the World Cup. No one likes soccer here, but boy, were we locked in, and it was the most watched soccer game of all time.
It's only a sport if America's playing. It's only a sport if US is in it.
And look, when they roll out, it was over with. I just had a big brain idea. Nostalgia's popping right now and it's hot. Obviously, this is our lifestyle. We like the old school stuff, right? You remember NASCAR IMAX 3D when you were a kid, Connor?
Oh, of course. Yep.
Remember going on the field trip and they were like, you can go to the aquarium or go see NASCAR, and all the other little shithead kids went to the aquarium, and like you and a few of your friends went to the NASCAR one. We need IndyCar, real IMAX 3D, run it back 2023.
Well, the Mario Andretti IMAX, the remember the Andretti IMAX film? Did you ever watch that one?
See, I did.
Oh yeah, there was a big Andretti open wheel IMAX experience, and it was awesome. Like you gotta look that one up, because that one was also very elite.
I gotta.
When did that come out?
DVD.
I don't even know, but I remember seeing it, and I'll never forget the camera angles that they used, because it was so cool. I'm gonna even. Yeah, Mario Andretti IMAX movie. I'm looking it up on the Google. It's called Super Speedway.
Yeah, okay,
Super Speedway.
I've never seen that.
1997. It's only 50 minutes.
My DVD. I want that for my DVD collection.
You better get it in your Blu-ray and pop that thing up to a giant screen as big as you could play it with the volume that'll scare the neighbors away.
Okay, I'm here for that, dude. But yeah,
it's electric. It's electric.
Something like that would be incredible to see now, because like they just released Avatar. This doesn't have any racing in it, except for racing whales on a different planet. However, that would be something cool to see. And so I would be down for that, and I know, like I said, just the personalities you guys have are great. Scott, we got to meet Scott. Scotty is fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Love that guy. Had a brief interaction with Joseph earlier in the year, and we're still getting to know a lot of these other guys. You've been like our closest companion through thick and thin with it, man. And so it's like, I love the world, and I love what it is. I know you love it. I know that Dale loves it. And so it's something that we're hoping in 2023 to really get out there. So it's up to you that's listening to this and watching this to move your ass and make sure that it's okay to watch the NASCAR race, but you better at least record the IndyCar race. That's all I'm saying.
Go to the Indy 500. That's always my biggest advice.
500.
And we didn't even talk about, this has been a great conversation. I could go on for hours. But the last thing I'll say about it is, we didn't even talk about like the experience of the weekend. You can literally do whatever you want that weekend. You got like
we're there for 3 weeks too. Yeah. You could rent a small apartment for a month in Indy just to enjoy the whole month of festivities.
It is amazing. And at a time where NASCAR has lost its month, right? Like we've been shortened to, speed week, right? IndyCar still, and I know it's been shortened a little bit for IndyCar, but month of May is still a really big deal in Indianapolis. And hell, if you don't go for the month of May, just go experience the weekend. It is one of the greatest weekends you could ever have, the most fun times ever. And then Sunday, the race is no slouch. It is the top of everything you could do that weekend. So, yeah.
It is Mardi Gras in Indianapolis. I was gonna say this would be a perfect like obviously Speed Street is your podcast, Dirty Mo Media. You enjoy Molinaro, have that. Just more conversations to come. We'll go through a whole week breakdown. We'll have to see what we can do. We'll see that's where we can pick this up on the next one. We'll do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the funny thing is you could talk about it for forever because it's something that we all love, right? It's something that we're passionate about. And, anytime I talk about this stuff too, I know that this stuff doesn't happen at the snap of your fingers, sadly, right? Like it's hard. It's not easy. It takes a whole team of people. The NFL teams are massive organizations that are run by billionaires that hire a bunch of other smart people. You know what I mean? And, we've got Roger Penske, who also has people under him, and those have people under them. And, it takes everyone, to get the product, because the product isn't our problem. It's making sure that the people get to it. So there's a lot there. And I know that it's harder than it looks. But it can happen. Like I would have said in 2018 or maybe 19, I didn't know what the ceiling for motor racing was, you know what I mean? Because because still no one knew what Formula One was here. Like no one watched it at all. And NASCAR's always been good. And like our ratings have been going up, but now, like when you see how much people talk about racing and how much more I've seen the talk when I rummage around the streets of Indianapolis or any other place that you might go, the desire for motor racing seems to have gone up a lot, right? The vintage NASCAR t-shirts, the vintage NASCAR everything, vintage IndyCar shirts, all that stuff is, people are asking me for it, and friends that don't know much about racing at all, like want to come to a race. So there's definitely something now that we have to take advantage of. And all of us hopefully talking about it and on our shows, podcasts, whatever it is, be a friend, tell a friend type thing, all of that helps, but we're going to need a giant missile launcher to kind of put us into that next level. Because again, once it goes viral, right? Like once it goes to that next level, it becomes a little bit easier.
That's it. We're gonna find a way to make this happen. I'm a good manifester, big believer in energy. Universal energy.
That's why you're so good at betting, then.
Maybe so. Well, him too. I mean, look, I'm gonna tell you, like he was already good, and when I started like just filling his ears with meditation stuff, he went to another level. So yeah, I'm telling you. I'm not gonna say you meditate though. He just channels Dale Earnhardt, and that's what happens. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of like the stats, like realistic guy, and then Chase is like the energy guy on the manifestation side. So our combination really works.
The vibes bet. The vibes bet. Yeah.
Big vibes. Let's go ahead right into it. So Conor, this is what we've been waiting on. Okay. This has been an amazing conversation. I had other shit written down. It doesn't matter because this conversation has been everything that it needed to be. And I'm jacked up and I'm feeling good. And I'm ready to take you aboard. The first IndyCar driver in the history of Garage Talk to be on our newly named show, Wheelman Wagers, the segment of the century where you get to pick 3 bets and the public will tell. And it's time. So here we go. Welcome to Wheelman Wagers.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Funny you mentioned 3 bets. I'll give you a quick story real quick on 3 bets. I get a call last weekend. Actually, the weekend before Christmas. It's Travis Pastrana. He said, Conor, I've lost a lot of money betting on football this weekend. Who do I go with? Because randomly some other weekend we were together and I was locking in some bets and he was like, who do I need to go with? And I said, boom, boom, boom. And we hit a couple of them. And I went 3-0 for Travis Pastrana picks. It was a very, very proud moment. I called him at the end of the day and he was like, hey man, that was perfect. I won like all my money back. And I was like, hey, that's what we like. We love locks here on the betting game. So the 3 is a great number for me. Obviously 3 bets are great. Where do you want me to start? Are we going right into it?
Dude, I just got to say, you got Travis Pastrana.
Travis Pastrana, baby.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was a very funny phone call. I was riding my bike in my house, just watching TV, getting my workout in, and now I'm talking about football bets.
I love it.
Dude,
well, look, you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to take the Travis Pastrana energy that you gave to old Travis. It's good to know that he's a big bet guy too. Every driver that has been on this thus far, we've had Ryan Blaney, we have had Austin Dillon, and then we recently had Parker Kligerman. They all went 1 and 2. Okay. I'm pretty sure they're all 3, 1 and 2. And the most recent, Parker Kligerman choosing Baylor over Air Force with minus odds, and then Air Force just piss stomping them.
Dude,
that was
we'll have to get a clip out on that because I scolded him. I was like, "You're gonna pick Baylor in the Armed Forces
literally
Bowl
on Wheelman Wagers.
Air Force. It was an armed dude. Yeah, how are you gonna do that? And then Air Force smoked. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead. Let's get this started. All right, we're gonna do 3 NFL games this Sunday and also good juju. Talk about manifestation. Start off the new year this Sunday, January 1st. How about the New Orleans Saints, which is essentially our hometown team, at the Philadelphia Eagles? I'm looking at the over-under at 44 points, and the Eagles are 6.5-point favorites. Tell us, bring the energy. Let's hear it.
Well, I like the Eagles here. I don't care what quarterback plays. I mean, they've got a wildly talented team. A friend of mine, Boston Scott, big race fan. He's one of their running backs as well. Gardner Minshew. How do you not want to fight for that guy? I mean, I love what he was doing. He took the heat to his opponents. I mean, and I respect it. You know, almost beat the Cowboys in his first game in. That was a gunslinging match. So I love the Eagles because the Saints have no idea who plays quarterback for them. They've got Jameis on the bench. They've got Taysom. You got the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, who I think is not exciting at all. Now, I do have an Andy Dalton signed Bengals jersey, so I do feel bad about that. But it's got to be the Eagles here. It's got to be the Eagles. And, I mean, I'll take the points. I mean, 6.5 seems fine. They'll win by 15. I don't know.
The only reason I'm not sad is because of Gardner.
Yeah. Gardner grew up 2 hours from me. And my senior year, we won state championship, which is Oak Grove High School. We played him when he played at Brandon, and he murdered us. He was our only loss of the season. And luckily, we're in the South Division. They're in the North. He lost in the playoffs, and we didn't have to play him again. We went to state. We won it. So, yeah, pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
I love that.
Playing for the Eagles now. Yeah.
We do. Shout out to Gardner. Shout out to him. All right, next game. All right. It's a battle of the North. Big North battle, guys. It's Vikings and it's the Packers. All right. The spread is 3 with Packers being favored, obviously.
I see 3.5. No big deal.
Okay. All right. 3.5. That's fine.
Gotta be particular. I like it.
Yeah. Over under is set at 48. And then Vikings money line plus 155. Packers money line minus 180. Where would you go?
Well, this is a game that I tried to use reverse psychology on because I've seen a lot of people talk about the Packers winning out now. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is going to use his ayahuasca and witchcraft to get up the field.
High five.
And I don't know about the Vikings because Kirk Cousins, I just don't trust him. But it's a very Vikings potentially keep yourself in the game type game. And the Packers, I don't think have the longevity to keep this streak alive. So I got the Vikings at +3. I love the +3.5 that I'm seeing now too, with that little half-point hook. So I like the Vikings, and it's a game that I didn't want to pick, which I reverse psychological to my mind into picking the Vikings. That's what I'm doing.
That was very big words.
Are we going? Do you advise All right. We got to know. Do you advise +3 or +3.5?
I mean, I like 3.5. I
right.
got it at +3 in my little sports book betting, which was -105, and plus 3.5 is -111. So it's not too big of a difference.
That's a Big Ten skull.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's down for the final. Heartbreak Hotel here with the Indianapolis Colts. Monday Night Football was not great, to say the least. They are now at the New York Giants. The spread is 5 over under. I'm looking at 39.5 for the final game of Wheelman Wagers. Where do we go with your Colts and the New York Giants with my guy Dan Jones?
Well, I think this game sucks. It's got all the vibes of Colts potentially for some. I took the Colts to cover there, but then I also reverse engineered myself, took Chargers money line and the under, which was perfect. So I made up for that. But I like the Giants. I think the Giants have more to play for. The Colts need to stop playing all of football in general so we can get a better draft pick. I mean, Nick Foles threw more interceptions than completions, it looked like. And so I just don't know what we have going for us. And I have friends on the Colts too, and I'm an Indiana guy. But it's a disaster in Colts town. I don't know how this spread isn't like Giants -9. You know,
Small Dick Nick.
Fishy.
Yeah,
it's kind of fishy though.
It's a trap game. But I like the Giants -5. I will take that, and I will run to the hills with it.
Let's do it. All right.
So there you have it. Conor Daly's first ever Wheelman Wagers from an IndyCar driver. It's locked in. So it's Eagles -6, Vikings
6.5.
+3. What's that?
6.5.
You can't forget the hook.
Okay.
Can't forget the hook.
-6.5, 0.5. Vikings +3, 0.5.
Yes.
3.5. And then Giants -5, no 0.5.
Yes.
Okay. All right. No decimal in the Giants game. Those are 3 bets. I'm probably going to ride those bets with you. The only one that I rode 2 from last week, but the Cardinals spread actually hit. So that was nice. And then I had the Bucks +300 live. So that's always beautiful.
I'll put in a couple sneaky lines. These are sneaky PS I love you bets. I need the Lions to come back. -5.5 seems like a ton of points, but you got to love the Lions mindset. Maybe they're rebounding. They want to win for Dan Campbell. And another sneaky one, Dolphins +2.5 at the Patriots. The Patriots seem to be on a complete destructive loss, go down by 22, but come back, throw the ball to the wrong player on the right team in the fourth quarter. And the Dolphins are good, even no matter who plays quarterback. So I don't know. Those are a couple sneaky PS I love you bets, maybe.
Well, what a guy!
More ambitious laterals. Ambitious laterals.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was
bets on here. That's podcast only. That's pod only. Right there. Pod video only.
They might all be awful, but we're going to go into it with a positive mindset.
I think you're going 3-0. I'll tell you right now. I don't think I've told the driver. Well, I may have told Blaine that because I want him to win the Daytona 500. I'm probably putting the house in that.
There you go.
That was a manifestation play, at least for the bet side of his Wheelman Wagers pick. I feel good about you putting in the time. I think you're going to go 3-0.
I'm here.
You know what? Someone's got to do it, right? We might as well be bold and send in some picks.
You'll get a nice trophy. We gotta get together on what the trophy is going to be.
We're going to make the shittiest looking trophy ever and have like a great presentation. It's going to be awesome.
Newspaper, paper mache. Yeah. Dripping glue. That's coming. Dude, this has been an incredible conversation, a good talk as always. I can't wait to have more. If you are listening and watching this, hope you enjoy it as well. Be sure to check out Conor's podcast with Joey Molinaro, Speed Street, over on Dirty Mo Media. It's a great show. And be sure to follow Conor. It's just at Conor Daly, right?
At Conor Daly 22.
Only one in.
Most things, yeah.
All right.
And I'm on
Irish
the TikTok
Conor.
now. Conor Daly driver.
He's a driver. I like that.
Conor Daly talk. Let's go.
Dude, I have to ask before we leave. Are you related to John Daly?
No, I wish. I did. This is a really random thing, but I was at the Nashville IndyCar race last year, or no, maybe this year. And I knew a group of young ladies that were there, and they came by to say hello. And one of them was FaceTiming John Daly. And I was like, oh, hey, man, how's it going? I don't know if you heard me at all, but I did get to see his face on a FaceTime. And it meant a lot. I think she was FaceTiming him because of my name being Daly as well. I don't think he has any idea who I am, but I just know that I like the way he lives his lifestyle, and that I hope we get to hang out sometime, maybe swing some golf sticks.
We're gonna figure that out. He's a big Hooters guy, so
I love
we're gonna
that.
find
Yeah,
a way
as
to
he
do
should be.
something.
He is who I aspire to be one day.
Oh yeah.
I won't even come. I want him out to eat close what he is. But
the amount of times he's quit drinking and started back drinking is incredible.
Oh yeah.
The man is just is a rocket. I've heard legends, I've heard stories that he'll just pass out on the bus. He's just got a whole squad of people that just they carry him out like he's like, well, we are the champions. End of the video, you know.
Like, can we bet on his son to win the Masters already? Like, I don't know, but like I want to see the futures on that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Him
That's
and
the good stuff. I'm here for that.
Too.
Yeah,
we need to hit that up for sure.
Parlay that. Tiger Woods' son and John Daly's son to win a Masters in the next 15 years.
Oh yeah, I think you get pretty shitty odds for that actually, because it's probably gonna happen.
Minus 150. Yeah.
Yeah. That wouldn't be fun. Dude, this has been great. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe if you're on YouTube, subscribe if you're listening on the podcast apps. Tell a friend, at least one person today that you know about Garage Guys, about Garage Talk, about Conor, IndyCar, and Speed Street, and everything we talked about on this show. Okay? Do your fucking job. We love you. We appreciate you. Conor, thanks again, my man, and can't wait to see you and catch up again and get into some shenanigans.
Thank you, guys.
All right, take care.